Welcome, you join us today on another diplomacy game here with Lautaro on Deity difficulty, online speed, the usual bag, as well as being on a Splintered Fractal map. Standard size, of course, there should be 7 other AI opponents. We have found 2 of them. We have found Saladin and we have found Catherine de Medici. We want to try and figure out if we can potentially befriend our neighbors. To do that, we're going to need more money because we don't even have 100 gold yet, albeit turn 59 already. Having been playing for 59 turns, we have established quite a few cities, and we are surrounded by city-states, which can be good. It means that we don't have too much pressure from other civilizations just yet, but of course a lot of land is taken. To the east you can find Saladin, but of course we might want to be able to try and take advantage of this land first before he gets there. So Lautaro is an interesting one, and to be honest with you, while I did say that it's beneficial for me to not have nearby neighbors, not necessarily beneficial for him, and let's have a look why. Swift Hawk, plus 10 combat strength when fighting free cities on civilizations that are in the golden or heroic age. As you can see, wants to be trying to fight other civilizations. Defeating an enemy unit within the borders of an enemy city causes that city to lose 20 loyalty and 40 loyalty if that civilization's in the golden heroic age. So it's a pretty powerful way of converting cities. Toki. Cities with an established governor provide plus 5% culture, so that's a modifier. Plus 5% production, another modifier, plus 10% experience in combat towards all units trained in the city. That's quite nice. These numbers are tripled in cities that are not founded by Mapuche, so you definitely, the idea is that you conquer other cities, which I usually don't do because I don't do domination, and then put governors in those cities, both for the plus 8 raw flat buff to the loyalty pressure, as well as then all these other benefits. All cities within 9 tiles of the city of your governor, or with your governor, gain plus 4 loyalty per turn towards your civilization. So very much about taking over other cities during a golden age and trying to put governors in there so you can avoid losing them. Malin Raider, Mapuche unit that is unique to Renaissance era, plus 5%. Plus 5 flat-out combat strength bonus if within 4 hexes of friendly territory. Pillaging costs 1 movement. So not the whole turn, just 1 movement. What's their, do they just have regular 2 movement to start with? Chemamul. I hope that's how you pronounce that. Unlocks the builder ability to construct a Chemamul, unique to Mapuche. Gives you plus 1 production, provides culture equal to 75% of the tile's appeal, additional tourism after researching flight, minimum appeal of breathtaking. Oh wow, okay. So breathtaking is 4, so 75% would be 3. We do have spots for iron, which our builder is about to take advantage of, but currently doesn't have any movement to do so. But we have already found horses. This will allow us to make better trades with these neighbors of ours. We also have a bunch of luxuries that we're hoping to take advantage of. Again, our builders just arrived, so we're going to be doing that imminently. There may well be even some more land to the south, which would be good to take advantage of, but it seems relatively uncontested, so maybe we'll try to go for that after we already try getting some of this northern territory, given that the loyalty pressure is starting to hit from the north. If we can put a city here, though, we'll be under no pressure, and then we can start potentially building further forward. We have indeed found Mount Roraima, it seems, or at least about to, because that's what these values are indicating, although I think I can see a little bit of it. Fast forwarding on now to over 100 turns in, we have quite a few more cities. However, one of them is under serious loyalty pressure. As you can see, it's quite adjacent to the Inca, and Pachacuti, of course, has a golden age, which lasts for yet another 14 turns. So, how do we save this situation? We currently have a -7 on our loyalty, and we only have 37 loyalty left. Pretty gnarly, if I say so myself. We do have Amani, and Amani does indeed have her promo to help with this. So that's providing a boost, and yet we're still down by 7. We also have government, and our government has providing Praetorium with more loyalty support, more immunity support with a garrison unit, more loyalty support with a garrison unit, and still we're in this situation. Unfortunately for me, I am incapable currently of making a cultural alliance with Pachacuti. That will be our ultimate goal, but for now we have a cultural alliance with Pedro. It lasts for 2 turns. This says 2 turns, it's kind of a lie, because there's another turn on the 0 turns, so it's like 3 turns. So that could potentially be a further -21 loyalty pressure before we get to save the city if we can. And, you know, like, I mean, that's still 16 left, but pretty dicey, I gotta say. What else can we do to help support the situation? Well, if you have a look here, it says they have -3 happiness. And my suggestion would be to try and focus on alleviating that. And the way we can do that, because fortunately we do have a decent economy, if you see, we only have cocoa. We've been selling every single one of our luxuries, so we really only have cocoa left. So if we were to bolster the amount of amenities that we have access to, say, by buying them for around about 25 gold each, 22 gold each, something like that. Let's have a look how much he wants from this. I like doing raw gold because it's ultimately cheaper when there's still plenty of turns ahead. Okay, remember it was -3 amenities. What are we going to be able to do with getting other kinds of amenities? Unfortunately, Pachacuti cannot help us. Ah, we can buy this. Ha! I don't want to do that. Is there a way I can do that? I mean, I guess I can just go down here and change it like that. But I prefer doing it my own way. 25 again? No, 26? 26. Okay, so we have some furs now. Again, no help from that. I don't know what Saladin is doing. I don't know if we can do anything about that. 5 turns remaining for that war. That's obnoxious. And we can buy some diamonds as well from our good friend Tamiris. Let's try and see if we can do something here. Again, 26. So hopefully, with those 3 different amenities that we've just acquired, this won't be -3 anymore. Indeed, it's only -1. With that, it's fallen already by 3 points. Buying other people's amenities on the cheap, especially for situations like this, can be very helpful to alleviating loyalty pressure. Of course, it's not out of the woods yet, but I think it's a lot different than the -7 we were on earlier. We can see that we're able to also acquire salt. That will allow us even more amenities to try and help the situation. If we were to try someone now, we can see that we have indeed got our own salt, as well as extra cocoa. So we'll look to want to try and find a way to sell this off. 13 gold per turn is very nice. Okay, so now we're actually rising, albeit by less than 1, so we haven't found stability, but you know what's going to really power this on? If we go back over to here, we are now capable of establishing that cultural alliance with the Incas, with Pachacuti, the cutie. And we also get quite a bit of money for it. It's very nice. Make sure you try and make the most out of these when you can. If we do this, all of a sudden, no change. There you go. 16.4 rising. And that's how you save a city from potential disaster. And in the meantime, while we've been growing our empire and saving our cities, we have also built Statue of Liberty. And not only that, we also now have 14 points total from both the 6 from wonders and text, 6 from Congress participation, as well as 2 from diplomatic victory resolution, which is probably some sort of aid request. Now, we are in the middle of World's Fair. We're going to try and see if we can overturn this deficit, maybe get another point in there. We're probably not going to be able to win many more points from Congress itself because we are on that threshold. Remember, I do always advise trying to be 13 points or under before you just try to finish with a flurry in Congress and maybe get 5 additional points and then maybe a couple more from either finishing off Statue of Liberty or something. This is not going to be able to be done in this game because we're already past that threshold at 14 points. But, you know, nobody's started even on science yet. Nobody's anywhere close on culture. We have time to work with. We'll probably get there. In the latter stages of this game, turn 131 now, we have another Congress. But bear in mind and remember that we are at 14 points. Because of this, I want to describe how I go about the voting system for this coming Congress. We have here a bunch of options. Now, from experience, I know that certain options are often chosen higher than others. For tourism great works, almost always writing is the preferred choice. There can be exceptions. Hopefully we won't necessarily run into them, so that I can prove my point that I am capable of predicting which ones actually get chosen more highly. But they can happen, especially with certain other questions like reduction on unit cost. Often is production, but sometimes quite often gold. It can flip you up. And some of them can be really difficult to predict. Fortunately, these ones are perhaps on the easier side, but you never can be 100% sure. The next choice is ban production of buildings of this type. This is a very science-associated kind of Congress question because it's leading to the production for making spaceports and the projects thereafter. You get the options between the various types of power plants. Now, we don't actually have the option to make any power plant right now because we don't have factories or the industrialization tech yet. However, I would say that oil is probably your safest bet out of those three. It's usually the one that gets targeted. I think most people like going for the cheapest option, and nuclear tends to just get ignored. In regards to this particular option, which always happens towards the latter half of a game, since we are above the threshold, this is the key part. I am going to choose myself with only one and no need to spend actual diplomatic, favor over something like this to lose victory points. The reason why is because I'm covering my hide. I can't really fight all of them, especially considering how, if you notice, these values are exponential. These values can accumulate for each one. So like, 1 vote is 0 favor. 2 votes, adding a vote, would be 4 favor. But then it adds each time a greater amount. Then it goes to 12, then 24, and so on. This means that even someone with no diplomatic favor has the cheapest option to buy a vote, which is for free. Therefore, with my relatively lowly 113 favor, there is no way I can challenge a combination of these other players, let alone the ones that have more than me, in being able to keep myself gaining diplomatic points. If they all want to challenge against me, and they pretty much always do, they're going to want to choose this option. However, because I can predict that they are choosing this option, if I choose this option as well, for free, effectively, I can reduce the overall deficit by 1, because even though I will lose diplomatic victory points from this particular choice, it will give me a victory point for getting the right answer. Because remember, your objective in the Congress is to pick the winning vote, the vote that wins. And if you pick the same one, you might not have been able to challenge it, but at least you get one back for picking it. And finally, world games is something that is almost always accepted. I've never seen it fail. This is going to be a great way for us to be able to power into getting a few more points, getting over the line. Relatively easy compared to, say, World's Fair of achieving this. So we'll be dedicating our future turns to that. In addition, we also want to kind of push these other votes. So if we evenly distribute for now, 6 and a 5, is there a way we can get a little more out of it? Yeah, we can get a little more out of it. I expect the writing to be fine, but we can leave 4 in there. 7 will almost certainly make sure that this is correct. We're hoping to get these 2 correct, and that means, and that's sometimes why I pick great scientists, just to get the point, just get it correct vote. Plus 2 here. This will overall be -1, so 2 minus 1 is 1 point. And hopefully we'll get another point from completing this. As you can see, it went exactly as planned. Even better, actually, to be fair. Because instead of losing 1 point, we were able to not lose any points here. Quite strange. Often 14 is the threshold. This is an unusual anomaly, whereby they didn't actually push for me. You could potentially argue, although he definitely had more diplomatic favor than I did, and maybe that had something to do with it, that I could have tried challenging him to winning this. However, all that would have done would have been wasting my diplomatic favor, because he would put 10 votes in, and I did not have enough diplomatic favor to get 10 votes anyway. So last time we were talking about the Congress, and we were showing how we have world games to get through. This time now, we have passed through those turns. We have acquired 1,850 points towards Training Athletes Project, and it ends this turn with us having a 550 point lead in the World Games event. This will hopefully give us 1 diplomatic victory point, of which we only need a few more now, and 2 tourism for each campus. The second part doesn't matter, we haven't been making campuses, and we're not doing a culture game anyway, but you can see that we are getting closer. We're also very close to the next Congress. We'll have a look at that as well, but hopefully, by pressing the end turn button, we'll be able to see our dividends provide for us to get to 17 diplomatic points. Well, I win, but for some reason it hasn't actually changed anything yet. We have no real, information here, and yeah, we're still on 16 diplomatic points. That's so strange. Isn't it done? Is the emergency ended? Hasn't been finished? Oh, that's right. It's Civ 6, and it's not perfect. This is something to watch out for a variety of situations, including the very end of every single diplomatic game. It's quite irritating, but last turn is not actually last turn. If you remember, we were looking at this page and it said last turn, the previous turn, was the last turn. Well, actually, no, it's this turn. And in this last turn, in some instances, especially for aid requests, where it's easier to hand in some money at the last moment rather than necessarily make these projects, you can be usurped. You can have a lead that's smaller than this and have them overtake you right at the very end. Like, she's at 1,450 right now. I am not doing any more towards it, but she might in the last actual turn. So let's see what that looks like, shall we? Ah, you see? Not 1,450 points, 1,500 points. And if I was also on 1,450 points and I didn't advance any further, she'd now be winning. Very silly, and I hope they adjust this and fix this, because this is basically a lie, saying it was last turn and the previous turn. I have been debated by this before, so I really hope Civ 7, assuming they still do these sort of projects, don't lie to their players. That would be nice. Anyway, we have our diplomatic point now accrued for. We are on 17, and we're almost home to victory. Well, we made it. We're about to get our victory. It's an interesting game. A whole bunch of islands, different territories, having to get into other people's loyalty zones and figure out a solution. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the video. And if you have, don't forget to follow the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment below. And I'll see you next time.
From your earliest desire to live in peace, to the times when you stood against aggression, you have always sought cooperation. You did not do this merely to brighten your own glory, but because dignity belongs to each of us. And in so doing, you have proved that your ancient and eternal commitment to a shared peace will be the foundation of the world of tomorrow.